In this section, we'll go through how to create and edit contacts and the associated users in the CHT application using cht-configurer. If you haven't already, take a look at the previous video on how to create users and contacts from the admin console. cht-configurer is a command line interface tool to manage and configure your applications of the Community Health Toolkit. For this section, we're going to create health facilities using cht-configurer's CSV to docs command, combining it with the upload docs feature. To create contacts and the associated users with cht-configurer, you'll need to create a CSV file with the information of the contacts and the users you would like to create. The name of the file determines the type of doc that will be created for rows contained in that file. For example, a file named place.district_hospital.csv adds the property type district hospital, and a file named person.clinic.csv adds the property of type person. So in this exercise, I'll create a CSV file named place.district_hospital.csv and add the details of other health facilities that I would like to create within my application. So I'm using Google Docs, and the first row will have the column names, and here I just have one column that is in the name of the facility, and then I have the names of the facilities that I'd like to add. Now that my file is ready, I'll download it as CSV. And then I'll copy this file and move it to my working directory, where I'll create a folder called CSV. This is a folder that cht-configurer will look for when you run the command csv to docs. I'll also rename the file so that it has the right value. And then in my terminal, while within the project directory that I'm working from, I'll run the command cht-csv to docs. And once that is done, I can now upload the documents that have been created and that are stored in a different folder called JSON docs. And to upload the file or to upload the documents, I'll run cht and then specify the URL, which I can copy from here. And I'll just go back and add my username and password so that there is access to upload the files. And finally, specify the command, which is upload docs. So I'll get a warning that this operation will permanently write 3 docs. I'll just specify that yes, I want to continue. And in this case, I get an error 4 that the database does not exist. So I'll try again, but now remove the extra part of the URL that I had copied by mistake. and the documents are uploaded, and I can go to my application and refresh. To recap what we've done so far, we have created the place.districthospital.csv file on Google Docs, rather Google Sheets. We've downloaded that file, moved it to a folder called CSV, and then we ran the CSV to docs command to create JSON documents that will be uploaded to your CHT application or to the CHT application. And then we ran the upload docs command to upload those docs to our application. So the next thing I expect to see is within the application, the names of the other facilities that I've added. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing those. And so I need to debug and see what might be happening. And so one of the first things that I'll try and do is look at the documents that were created in the JSON_docs folder. I'll pick one, open with an editor, and look at the structure of this document. And so I see the type, I see the name, and I see an ID, which looks right. However, if I look carefully, I'll see that the type has a typo. It should be district hospital. However, that's not what is there. So this type is directly associated with the name of the file that I'm working from. And so if I go back, I'll just close this, go to the CSV folder, look at the name of this file, and I see that that's where the typo is. So I'll just correct it. And I'll run the commands once more. So first, CSV to docs. And then upload my docs. So now I'll just go back and refresh. And now the facilities are showing as expected. So in the next section, we're going to look at how to create CHW areas, CHW contacts, and users using cht-configure's create users feature. And to do this, I'll need to create a users CSV file. And again, I'm doing it on Google Sheets. And then I'm going to download as a CSV document. However, you can use any other CSV editor that you feel comfortable with. Just ensure that you have the right file names for the files that you're working with. And so here I have the column names that are required. I have the roles column, which specifies the role of the user being created, the username and the generated password for this user, their full name, their phone number, contact.name, which will be the name of the associated contact, contact.phone, which will be the phone number in the associated contact, and everything that starts with contact is information about the contact that is linked to this user. The place type will be the place that this contact will be created under, and in this case it's a health center, which is below the facility. And the name will be the name of the area that this CHW is working under. So the final thing I need to do is to add the parent of this contact or the parent of this contact area. That's a place.parent. And to do this, I'll need to get the ID in the app of the place that this area belongs to, or the place that this area is associated with. So if Mary Mutiso belongs to Nairobi West's facility, for example, I'll just select Nairobi West facility, and I'll see the UUID of this place in the URL, and I'll copy this, and I'll go back to my users sheet, and I'll paste the UUID there. So once again, I'm going to download as a CSV file. And again, I'll move it to the directory that I'm working from. And rename the file just to ensure that it's just users.csv. Now in this case, I'm not going to add it to the CSV folder. I'll just have it in the root folder in the base project directory. And then I'll run the command create users so that we create the users that are specified within the users.csv file. So in this case, I'll just type cht, specify the URL. Again, I'll copy it from my browser. But this time I'll remember to just pick the first part. I'll then add my administrator username and password. And specify the command that I'm using in this case, which is create users. Then enter. So we can see that this user is being created here, and then finally the create user is complete. So how do I check that everything is in place? I could select the facility, and I'll see that the area has been created. And under that area, there'll be the person or the CHW that we were trying to create. If I go to app management, users, again, I'll see the user that we just created with the role that we specified. So I can go back to my application, log out, and then try to log in as a newly created user. I'll get the details from here. I'll just copy the password and paste it. So I may have copied incorrectly. Right, so in this case, I think there were some spaces in the password that I hadn't accounted for. So if this is not working, I could just go back and change this person's password. And I'll try and clean it up so that we have the right values. I'll go back to app management, go to users, select the person that I want to edit, and then paste the new password and submit. In this case, I need to specify the role again. So I can go back to my application and log out. Once again, try. And this is successful. So I'll get the tour again because it's the first time this user is logging in. I can cancel that and go to people. And this CHW will see only the area and households within the area. So that's how you go about creating facilities, CHW areas, or any other type of place and user and associated contacts using cht configurer.